and there was a lot to like about this performance today. We said last week that the Burnley match was the best 90 minutes performance of this season. I think this one is right up there with it, against a side that actually offered a bit more going the other way. Very impressive. Chelsea up to third. Look out, everybody. The final score at the Bridge, a 4-1 win over Sheffield United, and not remotely flattering.
Welcome back to Matchday Live. Chelsea 4, Sheffield United 1. Another superb performance from the Blues. Thiago Silva and Timo Werner adding 2 first-half goals from Tammy Abraham and Ben Chilwell to give Chelsea all 3 points heading into the international break. Zach, let's start. A bit of a disappointment. We conceded a goal, mate. Not used to that now, are we?
Indeed. But you know what? I think that goal actually made us wake up. If it wasn't for that, we might have not seen quite such a great game from a Chelsea perspective. Yeah, that was a fantastic watch as a fan and even as a neutral, I reckon. Just the players on that pitch today, they wore the shirt with pride. They really did. And the certain Moroccan was fantastic. But you know what? I'm happy we conceded. I actually am.
Genuinely, I mean that is the only thing you can even find at the moment. We've gone 14 goals and 1 goal conceded in the last 4 games. So people have been talking about that balance, Abby, about Frank Lampard finding the balance between securing the defence and still being able to give your attacking players license. Well, he certainly underlined that with effect today again, didn't he?
Yeah, that's what is so amazing now about this team. It feels like the attacking and the defence is just so solid. Like, it's such an exciting team. I was literally just watching this half with the biggest smile on my face. Like, obviously I'm a Chelsea fan, as we all are. We're all huge Chelsea fans. But I'm like, we are mustard. Like, we are really, really good.
Genuinely, I couldn't agree more. It sounds really bad because obviously we're always going to have a slightly biased view towards Chelsea because, as you said, we're fans. But watching this team, I find them more entertaining, better to watch, the football that we're playing. And, you know, we're now in the top 4 and it's just as well the international breaks come now because it's not a great time for Chelsea to go to international breaks. They're playing that well. But tell you what, every other team, especially the likes of Newcastle, Rennes and Spurs who we've got on the international break, probably rubbing their hands with glee at the moment, the fact they haven't got to play us in the next 10, 12 days because we look phenomenal. Jason Cundy, you've been on comments for us, mate. What a performance. What a great result.
I mean, yes, great result. Brilliant performance. That's Ben. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like right now about Chelsea. Everything that we did today had purpose, moved with pace, looking to hurt, looking to get in behind, looking to create chances. Ziyech was the star of the show for me. I'm guessing you guys agree with that as well.
Yeah.
What a player he's going to be. And every one of those players, again, done his job, played well. I mean, you can't say it was a bad performance amongst us at all. And you know, I just wonder whether people will start to talk about us now, perhaps doing something in the league this season. Now, I'm still a little cautious about that, but tongues will start to wag. We're up to 3rd now, and we're there for a reason, guys. So, you know, let's see how we come at the international break going into Christmas and the new year, and who knows, it may well be a season that we have a little bit more in it than we first thought.
Okay, so I'll throw you back to the end of the Brighton game, first Matchday Live of the season, and right at the end of the show, I told you, mate, you're watching the champions-elect. This is going to be it. I'd say the way we're playing at the moment, you're absolutely right. People are going to be talking about us because footballing-wise, we're playing that well.
We are playing that well, and we've got a good squad, and we've got goals and opportunities being created from different areas. But we didn't see Havertz today. We didn't see Pulisic today. So think of what could be added when those two come into this side. And he's got options in the middle of the park. I thought Cover's second half was outstanding, as was Mount, those runs they kept. The movement. I mean, I've got a vantage point up here where I can see things that you guys can't see on the TV for obvious reasons. But the movement that every single player has in front of him, it doesn't stop. Literally, there is rotation in front. The players dropping into areas. As soon as one space vacates, another player goes into that space, and so on and so forth. It's just completely like moving, a fluid movement. Tammy more often than not stays down the middle, but honestly, a pleasure to watch us today, guys. Real pleasure. And that was a performance that people will start to talk about us maybe maybe challenging. It's that good.
Start to dream, Jay. Start to dream, lad. No, I tell you what, you are right. You've got the best vantage point out of all of us. So do us a favour, just talk us through how good Hakim Ziyech was today.
Yes, he was special today. He and this, as I said in the show before, and the shows before this, in other games, this is the one player that I was looking forward to most because of his age, because of what we've seen in the Champions League, because of how well he did last season, what we saw it firsthand. But not just that, but how good he was, the passing, the range of passing, the selection of pass, the weight of pass. The vision, the movement. So you need the movement. I said before at half time, you need the movement in front. It's one thing of a player that can do that, but if you haven't got the movement in front, he needs the players on the end of it. And the ball he nearly finds just at the very end there where Tammy, that's there. That's not necessarily about the movement. That's him saying, go on, can you get on the end of this? I'm going to play a little chip ball in here. Can you get on the end? And he nearly does it, but yeah, what a special player. Very, very excited about what he's going to bring. And you know what? We haven't even seen the best yet because he's not up to speed. So, well, very excited.
Zach, I could tell, mate. I could tell. Zach, let's talk about Timo Werner as well, because he was quite quiet by his standards today, but the mark of a very good striker, and we know how clinical and how good he is. But when he's had a quiet game, he gets a chance and he gets a goal.
Yeah, I reckon he might even be frustrated with himself as well, because he had a very good chance from a beautiful ball again by Ziyech, I should say. Where he dinks it over the keeper and unfortunately just hits the post. Mate, I think that's what kind of shows you what a world-class striker he is. Even in the day when they're not having the best of games, or they're not necessarily the guy that's taking the headlines, they still score. What more can we want from him, right? Like we're paying 45, 50 million pounds for him and he's still scoring and we're going, didn't really talk about him much, did we? And he's still got on the score sheet and he's brilliant. Like, it is fantastic to see a player who, honestly, as mentioned it earlier, can play just as well down that left wing as he did up front. And I think also we've got to give a massive shout out to Tammy. He did a lot of work today, a lot of maybe kind of unselfish work where he was kind of doing the hard yards, doing the little playoffs, winning it in the air against the Sheffield United side who aren't afraid of a physical battle. And I thought he had a fantastic game and defensively well from corners. I saw a stat that is saying we now lead the league with most goals from corners. And then when we were defending them, we also looked really good at on that side of it. When if you compare it to last season, that was maybe kind of the other way round. So at the moment, watching us play is fantastic. And I agree. I'm kind of annoyed with the international breakers next week. I would have loved to see us play again.
Abby as well. First goal in Chelsea blue for Thiago Silva, deservedly as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was beautiful, wasn't it? The thing is, like, as you guys have been saying, it was such a team performance. It's almost hard to pick out somebody that was the shining star of today because everyone was just phenomenal. Like, I think this is one of the best performances we've put in so far this season. And, yeah, it makes me excited. I think we're coming for the title. I think we really are.
I'm with you, Abby. I'm with you. Jay, on that as well, Thiago Silva, Ben mentioned it earlier with the stats that he gave us pre-match about how much he's won. You know, he's done it all. He's played in World Cups. He looked absolutely buzzing to score today. Like, he genuinely looked delighted with it.
He did, yeah.
And that's something, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to get your first goal, or to score. I don't know how many he scored in his career. I guess as a centre-half, he hasn't got that many, but, he'll always come up for set pieces. But, again, Ziyech is a free kick that he whipped in at pace, anything on that, and he's got just the slightest touch. That's all you need if the quality's that good. But yeah, pleased for him. Another brilliant performance alongside Kurt. They really are forming a partnership.
I was going to say that free kick did not remind you a little bit of when he was playing for Ajax against us in that same kind of corner, putting it into that, causing trouble. Because those kind of balls as well are so dangerous. Because if the keeper doesn't get it or no one touches it, it floats into the left-hand corner.
Yeah.
And also, little mention that Thiago Silva joins the Jason Cundy club today for scoring for Chelsea at Stamford Bridge against Sheffield United. That's right, mate, isn't it?
True. And the same end. And the same end as well. Yeah, there you go.
There you go, mate. I've heard he's been watching you for years, pal. So there you go. Take a little pat on the back. You can have that one. Abby as well. We mentioned at half-time, Ben Chilwell and Reece James, how good they are. They are exceptional. But again, there was a moment, and it's probably one of those moments because there were so many highlights, it might not make the highlights on the fifth stand a little bit later on. But there was a crossfield ball from Chilwell on the volley, like he cuts across it. And it's like, if that's Ziyech, we're talking about it a little bit more, but it's a fullback to fullback pass, and they're playing like they've played together for years.
Yeah, like you say, the highlights reel on the Fifth Stand app later is going to be long. There were so many moments in today's game, weren't there? But Chilwell and James, like some of the balls they're putting into the box as well. Like we're just giving ourselves as many chances as possible to score. It's brilliant.
It really is. Zach, I'm trying to dish out the praise because I think, as Jason pointed out, everyone deserves a mention today. They really, really do. And N'Golo Kanté is another one, and just.
Another week, another 10 out of 10 performance.
I think he sat beside me as well. He seems to be everywhere else. Like he's doing everyone else's job. Like he's phenomenal. Just popping up, just does everything. But again, the fact that he's in there, Kovacic was superb. Mount was brilliant. And like Jason pointed out, we've still got Havertz to come back in. Jorginho comes off the bench and looked assured in the last 15, 20 minutes as well. The squad good. Exactly. Billy Gilmore's back in training now as well. Another name that can go into that middle column. There's so many players. And this international break, it is a little bit frustrating, but at the same time, it means that some of these players that are perhaps coming back from fitness might get a few more minutes for their international sides. And perhaps as well, some players that have played quite a lot might actually get a little bit of a rest depending on who they are and who they're playing for.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Even from the point of, say, like Christian Pulisic, right? He might now be able to get a couple of weeks now, get that injury, kind of overcome that injury and really assess him. And the boys that do end up staying and don't go to international duty can properly work on getting back in. You mentioned Billy Gilmore there. That's kind of the blessing and curse about being, Chelsea Football Club and having all these superstars. They're amazing, but they also go do international duty for a week every now and again, and you lose them. But that's what every kind of club has to deal with. But yeah, today, honestly, every player on there, I hope Frank Lampard gives him a pat on the back. Kante he excels in that like deeper role by himself, just beautifully. Jorginho, as you mentioned, came on and was picked up where Kovacic left off. Hopefully the Kovacic knock isn't too bad. But I've lost the words, man. That performance is fantastic. I cannot wait for our next couple of games.
Well, as you can probably imagine, the man of the match stats on the Fifth Stand app, which you can have a vote on now, the poll's up. At the moment, Hakim Ziyech leading the way with over 90% of the vote. And I was going to say, I don't think that's a slight on any of the other nominees, i.e. Tammy Abraham, Timo Werner, Thiago Silva, Benchir were all exceptional today, but Hakim Ziyech was phenomenal. Abby, I don't want this to turn into the Ziyech show because we are probably going to have this chat 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times over the course of the season. So let's save that for another day because he was that good. But let's go back to Tammy. He was our one to watch before the game. And like the boys said, he's been so unselfish this season. Mm-hmm. And I think that the biggest pat on the back you can give Tammy is how good the players are playing around him because he allows them to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's proving really important for like the link-up play. And I think he's just going to be really important for us going forward. Like, absolutely. Can we just quickly allow a bit of a Ziyech show? Just because the Fifth Stand up is basically a fan account of Ziyech, like genuinely. So we've got Samuel A saying Ziyech is the man. Sahil saying he's unstoppable. Rahul saying balls in from Ziyech are just amazing. Anor saying he's the king of the assists. He just is the wizard, isn't he? I'm going to keep saying this until it's it. Hakim is simply Ziyech. Get it on a t-shirt, get it on a beanie. Right, come on. Don't be mad.
You've had two now. One more, Zach's gone. I love it. I rate it. Do you know what? You are allowed that because I'm not surprised there have been so many mentions for him on the Fifth Stand because as we've seen, just absolutely phenomenal. Jay, so going into an international break, if you're one of the players that, I mean, there's not many that aren't going to go and start for their country, but the ones that perhaps are going to get minutes. That aren't getting minutes for Chelsea at the moment. The likes of Olivier Giroud probably going to play a key part for France, as is Emerson in Italy and players like that. What does Frank Lampard challenge them to do over the international break then?
Well, I mean, I suppose you really just go and do what you normally do with your country. There's going to be a lot of players that are going away. There's going to be very little for Frank to do back here. I suppose it's one of those. Just keep your fingers crossed that every player comes back fit and healthy. There's no hangover, any injuries, any niggles, any illness that players potentially could come back with, and just go and do your very, very best. There's not a lot more Frank can do right now. Going into an international break on the back of a win, and in particular a good win with a good performance. Honestly, the next 2 weeks we've all been there when we have a bad performance and a defeat. Those 2 weeks feel like a month. I'm not a big fan of international breaks because we miss our football at Chelsea fix. But as long as they come back fit and healthy, guys, that's all you can ask for.
Absolutely right. And Zach as well. That it's a tight turnaround when Chelsea come back. We play Newcastle on the Saturday, then we have Rennes midweek, and then Spurs the Sunday after that. And after that, we get into like the winter period, as it were. We know games come thick and fast. So I suppose, like Jay said, if everyone comes back fit and healthy, if they get a couple of extra minutes here and there, then that's all you can ask for at the moment, because it's going to be hectic when they come back.
Yeah, indeed. Touch wood, they do. Yeah, but I mean, the other kind of saying is everyone else deals with the same thing. That is it. When you're trying to battle for Champions League football, when you're trying to battle, possibly the top of the league, you deal with this, and so does Liverpool, so does Manchester City, so does United, Arsenal, all of these guys, Spurs, all of them deal with it, and it's not really something that we can use as an excuse, because everyone's doing it, and we have the.
Sorry, Zach. Sorry to jump in, mate. Ben has got Ben Chilwell for us, so he'll be with us very, very soon. Oh, we're just a couple of seconds. He's just wandering up to him. Hang on. Rightly so. Jace can probably see him. He's probably having a swig of Lucozade, making sure he's got his energy back, and he's putting enough yards in, to be fair, on the pitch. Will allow him a slow wander towards Ben, but I know Ben will grab him any second now. Please. Jay's having a peer for us.
I can't see anyone, to be honest with you. Oh, I can see Ben. Yeah. He's just doing a piece there from.
Jay's scouting for us as well.
It's down there. It's coming. He's making his run.
Yeah, Jay, talk us for it, mate. Talk us for it.
He had an excellent performance again, didn't he, Chilwell? And
constantly.
It's been a problem area for us that we've kind of half solved in some games. We've seen Alonso put in decent performances at left wing back, at left back, not so. Whenever Emerson come in, you always feel a little bit. Aspilicueta has gone out and played in that position as well and done well, but it's never been. It felt like a square peg in a round hole. We've got away with at times. Now we've got a proper left back playing the system and the way that we like. He was outstanding. He has settled in so quickly, so well. They all have.
Zach, I don't want to cut you off again, mate, but I'm gonna come back to you now, because I am sorry for that. If he comes, I'm gonna have to dive in again. I did it to Dan about 3 times the other night. I felt so bad, but no, mate, just on that, because we talk about Ben Chilwell. We'll carry on with Ben for a second if we do get to hear him. If not, you'll hear on the fifth stand a little bit later on, maybe. But he's been superb, and like Jay said, he's fitting so well, and that culture and the fact that players like playing together. We saw that last year in abundance with Reece, Mason, Tammy. That matters, doesn't it? That really does mean something. It's not just sort of lip service that we as fans want to see.
100%, man. Like whenever you go down to Cobham, it's always positivity there. Everyone's always having a laugh. The community feel like, even when I've done things with Mason and Tammy and several players at the same time, it's always a laugh. Everyone's trying to make each other joke. It's no bad vibes at all. It's all excellent. And the thing is, well, he knows some of the boys. He's known some of the boys beforehand. Mason, Tammy from the England setup. So I'm pretty sure, like, for him coming to here wasn't necessarily that much of a worry that he wouldn't settle in. I don't think anyone would have been that worried about that. And he's showed it on the pitch how great he's been. I'm actually surprised at how excellent he's been week in, week out for us.
Mate, it's a great shout. I think every Chelsea summer signing, to be fair, has surpassed what we believe, because like we keep mentioning, Abby, they didn't have a pre-season. They've turned up. They've been told, get on with it. And all of a sudden, we're a couple of months in, and they look like they've been playing together for months and months.
Yeah, it's amazing. Because at the start, obviously, it takes a little while for things to gel. People are moving from different countries, people that have never met each other before. You've got language barriers. You've got all these things in place. But now, oh boy, are we like in form. It's clicked, and it's clicked in a big way. And it just makes me so excited to see the heights that this team can take us to.
Completely. Let's have a quick look at the table then. Chelsea into the top 4, which is beautiful to see. Southampton, obviously, top of the pile at the moment. Liverpool with a game in hand, obviously play tomorrow. which is a massive game. Liverpool City this weekend, and obviously Chelsea leading the following pack. There's games we played, and Jay, I think you've coined the term since then that football seems drunk at times since it's returned. You are spot on, mate. Southampton at the top. I'm not doing them a disservice here, but if they can carry that on, they'll be buzzing. But there are, Villa have got, I think, 2 games in hand on us, and exactly. And there are so many teams that still got to play catch up and got to play games. It's not really a level term, but it is quite tight at the top of the table already, isn't it?
It is tight at the top of the table, and at this stage of the season, more often than it is. And I did feel that this season was going to be very odd for a number of reasons that we're all very much aware of. And I think after about 8 to 10 games, I think you will start to see things settle down a little bit. I think there will be the gradual fall off of the teams that perhaps started well, Aston Villa being one. I still expect Sheffield United to get out the mess they're in. They're at the bottom of the table at the moment. I've seen enough of them this season last and what I saw today to think that they will get out of this. But, they're having a tough time at there. This was a side that coming out of lockdown had their eyes on Champions League football. And they were genuine contenders, genuine. They fell off the edge of a cliff, and they still struggled. But Chris has got to get them back into a way of playing to get themselves out of this mess. But I think you'll start to see the cream rise into the top, the dross perhaps start to sink the bad teams. But Southampton, look, they're a good team. We saw that they're a good team. But if we can get anywhere close to Liverpool this season, then we will we'll finish in that top 4 comfortably. But yeah, still early days, and I've watched so far. I'm liking what I'm seeing. It's encouraging. It's exciting. Abby's right. Really exciting.
Abby, it's obviously a big game tomorrow, Liverpool versus Manchester City. And I suppose as Chelsea fans will have a keen eye on that for the top end of the table. But also for I suppose if Liverpool win, it sets down a marker and they do start to open up a little bit of a gap to the rest of the table. But if City win it, all of a sudden, like Jason's pointed out, the table is so tight. And all of a sudden, there is no advantage.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be, big game. Interesting to see what happens. But I honestly do feel so happy and confident watching this Chelsea team. Best I've felt in a while. Like, even as a Chelsea fan, you're obviously always rooting, but I feel good.
You got every right to be as well. 4 points separating the top 10 in the Premier League, and bearing in mind, not in that top 10 are Man United. So there's another team that all of a sudden come into it. Zach, you a little smile there. Behave yourself. Or Man City not in the top 10 either as well. Worth mentioning for balance. But Zach, Spurs is obviously the big one that I suppose we're looking at. What is it? Less than a month now. I think it's 3 or 4 weeks away. Last Sunday of November. That's a big game whenever we play it. But if Chelsea come back from the international break, Liverpool aren't 4 points clear or whatever it is, then that game has got a lot on it if Chelsea go into it unbeaten. Yeah,
especially as I think over the past kind of same time that we've started to become good, Spurs have also looked pretty good. Basically, since we both faced each other in the League Cup, I think we both played kind of weakened squads during that time as well. And maybe we actually came away from that a bit annoyed that we ended up losing on penalties. We should have kind of finished the game off earlier on. But yeah, as you said, it's a London derby. Frank Lampard did it twice over Jose Mourinho last year. Fantastically as well in both times, showing that he managed the game better, and so he'll want to do the same. And especially that it is Frank versus Jose versus Frank. There is that kind of extra bit to it. To kind of the apprentice becomes the master shows whether what the apprentice has done. But you know what? Like if we continue playing like we have been, I don't see them as an issue. To be quite honest, they've not got a chance.
Mate, perfect time to film from us this evening. Thank you very much for joining us. Post-match reaction, interviews, everything you need will be on the Fifth Stand a little bit later on. Highlights of this evening's match as well will be available on the Fifth Stand from about 9:30 tonight. And like Abby pointed out, it'll probably take you right through until the 21st we play Newcastle, because there was a lot of points in today. And there's also PL2 football to look forward to this weekend. Chelsea travel to Everton tomorrow afternoon, and you can see it live from 12:55. Little wait until the Blues are back in action due to the international break, but it's a big one to come back to. Newcastle away at St James's Park on Saturday, the 21st of November. Matchday Live has everything you need ahead of kickoff from 11:20. So the Blues head into the break in fantastic form. 4 straight wins, 14 goals, 1 conceded. These next 2 weeks can't go quick enough, can they? We'll see you in a few weeks. Have a good weekend. Come on, you Blues.